Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Should Nina and Carly split Willow or send the congressman back to jail for sabotaging Drew's new home? Nina Reeves has been attempting to persuade Carly Spencer to join forces, according to General Hospital spoilers, but what will they put in Drew Quartermain's new home? Would Drew's separation from Willow Corinthos begin with his obtaining access? Nina mentioned on GH's February 7th episode that Drew might be able to transfer Willow and the children into his new home. Nina was wise to include this in her pitch because Carly doesn't want it any more than she does. Nina added that she might be able to enter Drew's home. So let's consider the implications for their strategy. What will Nina be able to access and how will it work? Maxie Jones, of course, provided the updates regarding the house's escrow status. She also noted that Drew sought her assistance in locating a decorator. Nina might easily refer Maxie to a decorator and covertly pay them to assist them in. In any event, it's obvious that Nina believes that having access to Drew's home could help destroy his connection with Willow. It seems sense to think that Nina and Carly will eventually plant something in Drew's house, but what will it be? A listening device that would enable Carly and Nina to obtain additional information could be one possibility. Finding out about Drew's other dubious actions and possibly obtaining information to anonymously blackmail him could be accomplished by bugging the establishment. Drew may be on a path that involves crimes and actions that could endanger Willow's children, because he has been meeting with individuals like Jen Sidwell and Selena Wu. Bringing that to Willow's attention could be beneficial. Additionally, there's a chance that some evidence will be planted that could embarrass the new congressman and possibly land him back in jail. If necessary, would Nina and Carly be prepared to use a frame-up scheme? Another intriguing possibility is that Carly and Nina will set up hints to suggest that Drew is having extramarital affairs. This decorator might even get compensated more to fabricate an affair and act as though she has fallen in love with Drew. Willow may start to question whether Drew is really committed to her after hearing Nina and Carly's plan. Given her previous liaison with Drew, Nina will be taking a significant risk whatever of the tactics Carly and Nina choose. You can guarantee that Drew will bring Nina down with him if he fails. Drew might reveal his previous relationship with Nina and turn Willow against him since he might believe he has nothing left to lose if they split up. We'll give you additional predictions on any bad news that may come up, because General Hospital spoilers indicate that Nina might pay a price for betraying Drew. Cyrus is aware that Lucky and Liz are pursuing him. At Bobby's, Lulu met Laura and nervously shared her talk with Brennan on Valentine. Laura promised to assist her in locating Charlotte. Lulu informed her, "There might be another route I can take to locate my daughter." According to Lulu, Rocco indicated that Charlotte enjoyed riding horses, so she followed equestrians and facilities on social media that Charlotte could find interesting in the hopes of finding her. Laura was in favor of the plan, but she had to go to speak with Drew after receiving a call indicating that he was the Café Sherry. Carly informed Lucas at the hospital that Nina wanted to see her, most likely in order to work with her to separate Willow and Drew. Carly reported that she confronted Drew after noticing his tie protruding from the couch. Lucas acknowledged that he pursued Willow at Christmas, which also backfired. He believed it was time for both of them to grow from their errors. Drew behaving like Willow's hero infuriated Lucas and Carly, but Lucas advised them to stop exacerbating difficult circumstances. Working with Nina, he guessed, would have the opposite effect. Nina asked Maxie at work how she could persuade Carly to assist her in ending the relationship between Drew and Willow. Maxie stated that she didn't believe Drew would harm Willow, and that she was free to make her own foolish decisions. Nina pointed out that Drew would most likely move Willow and the children in with him if he had space in his hotel room. Since Drew was in escrow, Maxie acknowledged that he wouldn't be staying at a hotel for very long. She promised to assist him in finding a decorator. Nina was stunned. Nina requested that she postpone Drew's move-in after Maxie pointed out that he hadn't purchased any furniture yet, but she declined. Despite her disapproval of what they did to Michael, Maxie claimed that they were adults and could do as they pleased. Maxie questioned whether Nina was acting in her daughter's best interests or if Willow was seeing the man Nina had previously desired for herself. Nina claimed that although Drew had enchanted her, he also made others feel their worst. Nina acknowledged that she ought to have followed Maxie's advice to stay away from him. Willow was in love with Drew in Maxie's opinion. When Carly showed up, Nina assured her that she wouldn't hold it against her if she believed her to be a hypocrite. Nina was aware that she had done the same to Carly by forcing her into her marriage in order to have Sonny. Nina claimed that although she couldn't change the past, she was a mother who loved her child and couldn't stand by and watch Willow ruin her life for a man who wasn't deserving of her. Carly acknowledged that she hated Drew and Willow together, but she knew that it would be dangerous to try to end their relationship, and that Willow may keep the children from them. Carly was questioned by Nina about her feelings if Willow and the children moved in with Drew. Carly was informed by Nina that Drew was in escrow. She figured his new home would have ample space for Willow and the children. Carly acknowledged that she wouldn't rule out Drew inviting them. Carly was informed by Nina that they might enter Drew's new home. She asked Carly if she would go to any lengths to keep their grandchildren safe. Willow greeted Elizabeth as she returned to the nurse's station. Portia approached Liz and said they wanted to speak before she began her shift. Portia apologized in her office for suspending her, and assured her that she would never injure a patient again. Liz was aware that Portia needed to adhere to protocol. Liz remarked she was appreciative of Rick's hard work on her behalf, and Portia mentioned this. She was curious about the investigation's current state, but Portia was unaware of any developments as it was still under police control, and she was unaware of any potential suspects. Liz thanked Nurse Gail for her assistance over the phone at Turning Woods. Cyrus strolled into the hospital as Gail hung up. Gail informed him that he needed to speak with Director Ferner before seeing any patients, even though he claimed he was there to see Mrs. Brown. The director publicly thanked Cyrus for his efforts, but pointed out that he had misled himself about Lulu. Cyrus inquired if Gail had impacted his choice after telling him he heard her speaking to Elizabeth. All he knew, according to Director Ferner, was that Elizabeth was seeing Lucky, and that they were angry about his access to Lulu. He went on to say that he was aware Cyrus was also prohibited from GH. Cyrus became agitated and declared that he wanted to know who was making false accusations against him. "Is it Liz?" he questioned. "I'm needed by those patients. I wouldn't leave them," Cyrus yelled. Ferner informed him that he was not permitted to enter Turning Woods because it was a private hospital. Sonny and Natalia waited for his appointment in Los Angeles. Sonny stated that he wanted to concentrate on figuring out who planted the firebomb in his flat, and hoped his illness wasn't too bad. Sonny only wished to keep his health problems a secret to avoid his family being targeted by his business rivals. "That, not possible. Occur," Sonny demanded. Natalia held Sonny's hand when the nurse arrived and accompanied him to the doctor. Natalia asked Sonny if he wanted to discuss the doctor's diagnosis of the necessity for a pacemaker and medication after the visit. All Sonny wanted to think about was who set the bomb. He claimed that his family wouldn't be safe if he didn't identify the culprit. Then he would concentrate on recovering. When he received the pacemaker, Natalia offered to accompany him, pointing out that the doctor had instructed that it be completed within the following 3 months. Following their departure, a man who had overheard their exchange rose from the waiting area and trailed them. Then Jen Schoon pulled out his phone and dialed. Drew and Sidwell met at the Café Sherry. Jens explained to him that the Esplanade project was the reason he was lured to Port Charles. Sidwell asked if Sonny Corinthos was responsible for the delay when Drew told him that the plans were delayed. Drew objected to Sonny influencing him in any way. Sidwell questioned whether Drew had thought about moving the Esplanade to Pier 55. If Sonny's coffee shop was unlawful, he proposed, the government could seize the land and utilize it to boost the city's economy. If necessary, he added, he would commit a sizable sum of money. Laura cut off the talk between Jens and Drew. Drew was unaware that they were acquainted. When Laura revealed that Sidwell had kidnapped Lucky and almost killed him in Somalia, Sidwell laughed. Sidwell claimed that his account was different from Lucky's and threatened to file a defamation lawsuit if the mayor continued to make unfavorable public remarks. Drew explained to Laura that Jens had suggested moving the Esplanade to Pier 55. Laura advised Drew to bring any ideas he had to her office, but she also pointed out that she didn't believe Sidwell was involved in any plan to improve Port Charles. Sidwell received a call after Laura left, so Drew explained he had given him plenty of time to reflect before departing. His henchman called Sidwell after he responded, claiming that he had followed Nadalila to a cardiologist, but that it was actually Sunny's appointment. Jordan went to Anna's office and requested a wearable micro-recording device. After discussing with Laura how dangerous Jen Sidwell was, she recounted how she met him and why she needed it for him. Jordan wanted to know why Sidwell was there, but Anna told him not ask. Jordan was forewarned by Anna that she didn't believe Sidwell's presence in Port Charles coincidentally occurred with the firebombing at Sunny's. Jordan was taken aback by Anna's willingness to support her concept and provide the necessary tools. After giving Willow some work at the hospital, Lucas informed her he had something to say. He expressed regret for his remarks at their most recent encounter. Lucas remarked, "I had no right to dictate to you how to live your life or to judge your choices." He went on to say that if her and the children ever needed him, he would be there for them without conditions. Willow was located by Maxie when she returned to the nurse's station. She wanted to arrange for James and Wiley to play together. Maxie claimed that Nina inquired about her well-being after informing her that she had returned to live with the children. Willow observed that it had been somewhat isolating because Maxie was the only person who ever inquired about her well-being. When Willow mentioned that she was thankful to Nina for providing her with a place to stay, but that she should definitely search for somewhere with a kid-friendly backyard, Maxie appeared worried. Cyrus asked Lulu how she was feeling when he arrived to Bobby's. She informed him that he was in violation of a restraining order her family had against him. She cautioned him not to approach her. Cyrus maintained that their miscommunications were keeping him from carrying out his duties at Turning Woods, where he looked after her and she was alone herself. "I didn't hear you taking care of me when I woke up. I overheard you discussing moving me to a different state with the physicians," Lulu raged. According to Cyrus, Lulu was perplexed since she didn't witness his development into the man he is today. When she was weak and still recovering, Lulu yelled that she had to flee because she knew she had to escape him and whatever evil scheme he had planned for her. Cyrus was furious that she didn't understand that he was committed to her. "I have done for you what no one else has," Cyrus said vehemently. Lulu was shocked and fumbled in her bag for her phone. When she turned back, Cyrus had vanished, but she had contacted Anna's office to explain that he was violating the restraining order. Lulu hurried to Anna's office and informed her about Cyrus's remarks. She wanted to know what that lunatic wanted from her because she was so terrified. Lucas denied ever talking to Portia about Cyrus when Liz questioned him about it at the hospital. Lucas claimed it was too late because Cyrus already knew, but Elizabeth pointed out that it was crucial that he didn't realize they were on him. He explained to her how Jocelyn had confronted Cyrus at the PCPD and charged him with Dex's murder. Lucas should keep Joss away from Cyrus, Liz suggested. Liz stated, "He will only become more dangerous if he knows he's cornered." Cyrus entered the nurse's station behind them and observed them conversing. Is Spencer Cassidy a startling surprise when Michael returns to Port Charles? Michael Corinthos' inevitable return to Port Charles may be a stunning surprise. A not-so-dead Spencer Cassidy, according to General Hospital teasers and rumors. Given that Baden-Baden is only 5 hours away and just over the French-German border, it is not hard to believe Spencer may have arrived there. It is probable that the Baden-Baden burn clinic also performs plastic surgery. Since these are the same physicians that treated Valentine Cassidy's scoliosis, there's a fair likelihood that the Baden-Baden burn clinic also does routine plastic surgery. Look at him now. He was severely damaged in both his face and back, like Quasimodo, the well-known hunchback of Notre Dame. The clinic in Russia closed, but the same specialists opened a new one in Baden-Baden, which is why he referred Ava Jerome for her burns. It is conceivable that Spencer, like Sonny Corinthos in Nixon Falls, may have suffered severe injuries and disfigurement during his harrowing journey down the Seine and suffered from amnesia. He might have been picked up by a boat and taken to the Baden-Baden clinic, just like his father, Nicholas Cassidy. Since he was a baby, Michael had known Spencer. Similar to how Jason Morgan known Michael when he was a baby, Michael knew Spencer. Although they are not blood relatives, they are rather distant step-cousins through adoption. In a way, Spencer and Michael are extended family because Sonny adopted Michael and Spencer's mother was Courtney Matthews, Sonny's half-sister. Spencer hasn't seen anyone or anything that may possibly trigger his memory if he's suffering from amnesia since he's been gone, assumed dead, for a little more than a year. If he looks completely altered, Like Drew Quartermain after plastic surgery, Michael probably won't know him, but Spencer might remember something if he sees Michael. It's unclear who might be paying for Spencer's burn clinic bill. But since his accounts are no longer active, even if he did know who he was, they might accept charitable donations. Spencer would accompany Michael home. Knowing that Spencer's accounts would be terminated, and that a large portion of the story of what transpired was based on family ties, Michael would undoubtedly take Spencer back home with him. Given that Spencer is his nephew, he would make sure to alert Sonny and Laura Collins. Given that Trina Robinson is Jocelyn Jack's best friend, Michael would be able to fill in the majority of the gaps about her survival and Esme Prince's alleged death. It is regrettable that Spencer did not come across Michael and Jason during Jason's latest visit to Michael. Jason would have returned Spencer home much sooner, and done the same for him as Michael did. Unbelievably, is Natalia Sidwell's ex-wife? Rumors and spoilers for General Hospital hint at a startling revelation for fans. Is Natalia Ramirez Jen Sidwell's ex-wife? At the conclusion of the Friday, February 7th episode, it was disclosed that one of Jen's thugs had followed Natalia to Los Angeles and claimed that she was with Sonny Corinthos. Jens had Natalia following him, but his goon said she was with a man. Why? The majority of viewers probably thought the goon was following Sonny when he called Jens, but it was actually Natalia. Why not? It sounded like a private investigator who has been hired by a spouse to follow their partner about to check for infidelity. It appears from what we currently know about Jens and Natalia that neither of them is married at this time. What could Jens benefit by having Natalia watched? And why would the thugs believe he would want to know whether she was seeing someone else? The only explanation that makes any sense at all is that Natalia is Jen's ex-wife, and he is a highly protective man. Natalia might be concealing some aspects of her past. According to Natalia's past, she was separated from, or maybe divorced from, Mr. Rogers, the father of her daughter Blaze. She also had another child, Aloy Ramirez, with an unidentified guy, according to her background. Regarding Jens, we are aware that he was in Somalia with Holly Sutton, but it was never made clear whether or not the two were truly in love. He was mining diamonds and Holly was clearly in love with them, or was it more like stealing? Now residing in Port Charles, Jens is attempting to negotiate a deal with Drew Quartermain for a project he wishes to build on Pier 55, which is Sonny's property. Was Jens' move to Port Charles a real attempt to monitor Natalia? The possibility exists that the Mr. Blaze didn't know much about Rogers, the man who fathered him, and she was more familiar with her Puerto Rican ancestors. Rogers could actually be Jens Sidwell. Although Jens knows that Holly's daughter, Sasha Corbin, whom he once abducted, resides in Port Charles, he abandoned her when he saw her in the GH Hospital chapel. He is now more interested in other things, but why he was in the chapel when Sasha was praying is still a mystery. Jens didn't destroy Sonny's apartment with the intention of taking Natalia out, because he apparently was surprised to see her in Los Angeles with Sonny. Jens sounds like he might be the Mr. Blaze's biological father as Rogers, unless Natalia has another ex-husband that she hasn't disclosed, like Jens. Will Nina do anything to keep Willow and Drew apart? Additionally, Jason supports his son. According to the most recent General Hospital promo, Jason is juggling a lot of child-related problems because Cody doesn't appear to want to die. Furthermore, is Nina prepared to jeopardize her daughter's safety in order to prevent Willow from seeing Drew? Cody can't control his big mouth as he's eating with Felicia and his cousin at the Port Charles Grill, despite having learned his lesson about spreading rumors about Sasha. Cody calls Jason a slimeball when he shows up and demands that he acknowledge that Sasha's child is his. In order to protect Michael and Sasha's secret, would Jason confess to being the baby's father? Nina and Willow, who are in a nearby business conference with Martin, are taken aback by Cody's charges. Blink and you miss him across the restaurant, but Cyrus is working as a busboy in the background, and the Digitalis killer can't be pleased with this news. Not only that, but Rocco has been heard saying, "I think I did something I shouldn't have." Could that be a hint to Danny that the PCPD believes Cyrus killed Sam? A startling altercation breaks out at Charlie's as Jason exclaims, "Get your hand off my son." Ultimately, Nina has teamed up with Carly in an attempt to break Willow, and Drew up since she is so anxious to do so. But it seems like she's finally going to follow Ava and Curtis' advice and explain to Willow why she knows her daughter has fallen for Drew. Is Nina going to disclose her personal love-hate relationship with the congressman? Nina and Carly sabotage Drew's new house. 'Cause Willow split or send congressman back to prison. The drama on General Hospital is heating up once again as Drew Kane finds himself at the center of a shocking sabotage plot. With tensions high between Nina Reeves and Carly Spencer, the two women could find themselves inadvertently, or intentionally, causing havoc in Drew's life. Whether it leads to a heartbreaking split between Drew and Willow Tate or results in Drew being sent back to prison, the stakes couldn't be higher. Drew's fresh start in Port Charles. Drew Kane has worked tirelessly to rebuild his life since his time in Pentonville. His relationship with Willow has blossomed, and as he settles into a new house, it seems like he's finally finding stability. But in Port Charles, peace never lasts long, and trouble is brewing on the horizon. Drew's move into a new home was meant to symbolize a fresh start, a step away from past hardships. With Willow by his side, he hoped to create a safe and loving environment for both of them. However, external forces, namely Nina and Carly, could threaten to tear everything apart. Nina's vendetta against Drew and Carly. Nina has long harbored resentment toward Carly, and Drew's close relationship with her only fuels the fire. Although Nina's marriage to Sonny Corinthos has granted her some stability, she's still haunted by past betrayals. If she sees Drew as another obstacle standing in her way, especially if Carly remains an influential figure in his life, she may resort to drastic measures. Perhaps Nina stumbles upon a secret about Drew's past or his business dealings and uses it against him. Maybe she manipulates a situation that raises legal concerns, putting Drew in danger of violating his parole. If she succeeds, she could drive a wedge between Drew and Willow, leading to heartbreak and chaos. Carly's misguided interference. Carly, on the other hand, has always been fiercely protective of those she loves. If she believes Drew is in trouble, or if she mistakenly assumes that Willow is being manipulated, she might take matters into her own hands. However, Carly's impulsive nature often leads to disaster. Could she unintentionally expose Drew to danger by digging into his past? If she interferes too much in his relationship with Willow, she might push them apart instead of bringing them closer together. Carly's need for control could ultimately backfire, leaving Drew vulnerable to legal repercussions or personal turmoil. Sabotaging Drew's new house a strategic move? A more direct way for Nina or Carly to sabotage Drew's life would be through his new house. Real estate in Port Charles is no stranger to scandals, from hidden documents to mysterious accidents. If Nina wants to exert power over Drew, she could orchestrate something within his new home. Perhaps a forged deed, a financial scandal, or even a structural issue that forces him to relocate. Alternatively, Carly could try to uncover the truth about something suspicious in Drew's property, only to make things worse. If her meddling leads to financial or legal troubles, Drew might lose his home, further destabilizing his life and relationship with Willow. Will Willow stand by Drew? If Drew finds himself at the center of another crisis, will Willow remain steadfast by his side? She has endured immense hardship, from battling leukemia to dealing with family betrayals. If she believes Drew is keeping secrets or if she feels manipulated by those around her, she may question her relationship. At the same time, Willow is known for her compassion and loyalty. If she recognizes that external forces are working against Drew, she might fight even harder for their relationship. However, if things escalate too far, even her patience may run out. Drew's future. Back to prison or redemption? The worst-case scenario in all of this is Drew being sent back to prison. If Nina successfully frames him or if Carly's interference leads to an inadvertent parole violation, Drew could face serious consequences. His position as a congressman only makes things more precarious. Any scandal could ruin his career and land him back behind bars. Would Sonny step in to protect Drew? Or would he let things unfold without interference? And if Drew does end up in legal trouble, how will it affect his relationships with Willow, Carly, and even Nina? The fallout and what comes next. No matter how things unfold, the drama surrounding Drew, Nina, and Carly is bound to have far-reaching consequences. If Drew and Willow break up, it could open the door for new romances and betrayals. If Drew is forced to fight for his freedom, it could shift alliances and shake up the power dynamics in Port Charles. One thing is certain: General Hospital is never short on twists and turns. As Nina and Carly continue their long-standing rivalry, Drew's fate hangs in the balance. Will he overcome the sabotage, Or will he become the latest casualty of Port Charles's relentless drama? Stay tuned because the battle is just beginning. Cyrus had always been a man who thrived on the edge of danger, a mastermind who reveled in the thrill of outsmarting his pursuers. But this time the stakes were higher than ever. He knew Liz and Lucky were on his trail, two of the most relentless and resourceful adversaries he had ever faced. Liz, with her razor-sharp intellect and unyielding determination, was a force to be reckoned with. Lucky, on the other hand, was a wild card, charismatic, unpredictable, and fiercely loyal to those he cared about. Together they were a formidable duo, and Cyrus knew that if he slipped up even once, they would be there to bring him down. The game had begun weeks ago, with Cyrus orchestrating a series of high-stakes heists that left law enforcement baffled and the public in awe. Each move was calculated, each step meticulously planned to ensure that he stayed one step ahead. But as the net began to close in, Cyrus could feel the pressure mounting. Liz and Lucky were not just chasing him, they were unraveling his carefully laid plans piece by piece. It was only a matter of time before they caught up to him, and Cyrus knew he had to act fast if he wanted to stay ahead. The first sign that Liz and Lucky were closing in came in the form of a cryptic message left at one of his safe houses. It was a simple note, but the implications were clear. "We're coming for you." Cyrus had to admire their audacity. They weren't just trying to catch him. They were playing mind games, trying to rattle him. But Cyrus was not so easily shaken. He had been in this game for too long to let a couple of upstarts get under his skin. Still, he couldn't afford to underestimate them. Liz and Lucky were not just chasing him. They were hunting him, and Cyrus knew that if he didn't stay sharp, he would be the one who ended up in their crosshairs. As the days turned into weeks, the cat-and-mouse game intensified. Liz and Lucky seemed to be everywhere, always just one step behind him. They had a knack for anticipating his moves, and Cyrus found himself having to constantly adapt and evolve his strategies to stay ahead. It was exhausting, but it was also exhilarating. Cyrus had always thrived on the thrill of the chase, and this was shaping up to be the most challenging game of his life. But as much as he enjoyed the challenge, Cyrus knew that he couldn't keep this up forever. Liz and Lucky were relentless, and they were closing in fast. He needed a plan, something that would throw them off his trail once and for all. And so Cyrus began to plot his next move, a move that would either secure his freedom or seal his fate. The first step was to create a diversion, something big enough to draw Liz and Lucky's attention away from him. Cyrus knew that they were too smart to fall for a simple ruse, so he needed something that would make them question everything they thought they knew about him. He decided to stage a fake heist, one that would leave behind just enough clues to lead them on a wild goose chase. It was a risky move, but Cyrus was confident that it would buy him the time he needed to disappear. The fake heist was a masterpiece of deception. Cyrus meticulously planned every detail, from the location to the timing, ensuring that it would be just convincing enough to fool Liz and Lucky. He even went so far as to plant false evidence, knowing that they would be thorough in their investigation. And just as he had hoped, they took the bait. Liz and Lucky were so focused on the fake heist that they didn't realize they were being led away from Cyrus's true location. With Liz and Lucky distracted, Cyrus made his move. He slipped away into the shadows, disappearing without a trace. It was a risky move, but it was the only way he could ensure his freedom. For now, at least, he was safe. But Cyrus knew that this was only a temporary reprieve. Liz and Lucky were not the type to give up easily, and they would eventually figure out that they had been played. When that happened, they would come after him with a vengeance. As Cyrus lay low, he couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. He had outsmarted Liz and Lucky, at least for now, but he also knew that the game was far from over. Liz and Lucky were still out there, and they would stop at nothing to bring him down. Cyrus had to stay one step ahead, always anticipating their next move. It was a dangerous game, but it was one that Cyrus was determined to win. In the weeks that followed, Cyrus kept a low profile, staying off the grid and avoiding any unnecessary risks. He knew that Liz and Lucky were still out there, searching for him, and he couldn't afford to make any mistakes. But even as he lay low, Cyrus couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. It was a nagging sensation, one that he couldn't quite put his finger on. But he knew better than to ignore his instincts. Liz and Lucky were closer than he thought, and they were not going to let him slip away so easily. One night, as Cyrus was preparing to move to a new safe house, he received a message. It was from an anonymous source, but the content was clear. "We know where you are." Cyrus felt a chill run down his spine. He had been so careful, so meticulous in his planning. How had they found him? He quickly packed up his belongings and prepared to leave, but as he stepped outside, he was met with the sight of Liz and Lucky, standing there with grim determination on their faces. Cyrus knew that he was cornered, but he wasn't ready to give up just yet. He had always been a fighter, and he wasn't about to let Liz and Lucky take him down without a fight. As they closed in on him, Cyrus made a split-second decision. He turned and ran, bolting down the alleyway with Liz and Lucky hot on his heels. It was a desperate move, but it was the only chance he had. The chase was intense, with Cyrus using every trick in the book to try and lose his pursuers. He ducked into buildings, climbed over fences, and even used the crowd to his advantage. But no matter what he did, Liz and Lucky were always right behind him. It was as if they could anticipate his every move, and Cyrus was starting to feel the strain. He was running out of options, and he knew that he couldn't keep this up forever. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Cyrus found himself cornered in a dead-end alley. He turned to face Liz and Lucky, knowing that there was no way out. But even as he stood there, outnumbered and outmatched, Cyrus couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration for his pursuers. They had played the game well, and they had finally caught up to him. But Cyrus wasn't ready to give up just yet. He had one last trick up his sleeve, and he was determined to use it. As Liz and Lucky closed in on him, Cyrus reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It was a smoke bomb, one that he had been saving for just such an occasion. With a quick flick of his wrist, he activated the device, filling the alleyway with a thick cloud of smoke. In the confusion, Cyrus made his move, slipping away into the shadows once more. But even as he disappeared into the night, Cyrus knew that this was only a temporary reprieve. Liz and Lucky were still out there, and they would not stop until they had brought him to justice. The game was far from over, and Cyrus knew that he would have to stay one step ahead if he wanted to survive. But for now at least he was free. And as long as he was free, there was still a chance that he could outsmart Liz and Lucky one more time.